There is something wrong with the way our galaxy is moving. Not wrong in the sense that something has broken. Not wrong in the sense that we are in danger. Wrong in the sense that for decades, astronomers looked at the motion of the Milky Way through space and could not explain it, could not account for it, could not find what was causing it. Our galaxy, along with hundreds of other galaxies around it, is being pulled. Steadily, relentlessly, in one specific direction, not drifting, not coasting on leftover momentum from the Big Bang, being actively pulled, the way a ball rolls toward a drain, toward something in the direction of the constellations Centaurus and Hydra, something roughly 250 million light-years away, something we cannot see. Astronomers gave it a name that is almost too simple for what it represents. They called it the Great Attractor. And the more they looked for it, the stranger the story became. To understand why the Great Attractor matters, you need to understand how galaxies are supposed to move. After the Big Bang, the universe expanded. Everything moved outward from an initial point of unimaginable density. And galaxies, broadly speaking, are still doing this, still moving apart from each other as the universe continues to expand. This expansion is called the Hubble flow. It is the baseline, the expected motion. But galaxies do not move only with the Hubble flow. They also have what astronomers call peculiar velocity, motion caused by the gravitational pull of nearby mass concentrations. The way a river has a general direction of flow, but individual water molecules also swirl and eddy around rocks and bends. In the 1970s and 1980s, a group of astronomers began mapping the peculiar velocities of galaxies in our local region. What they found was not expected at all. The Milky Way, along with the entire local group, were all moving together in the same direction toward the same point at approximately 600 kilometers per second. 600 kilometers every second, 2 million kilometers every hour, towards something none of them could directly observe. The problem with finding the Great Attractor is not a problem of distance, it is a problem of location. The thing pulling our galaxy sits almost directly behind the plane of the Milky Way itself, the densest, dustiest region. It's like trying to read a sign through a sandstorm. The light from whatever lies behind it is absorbed and lost. Astronomers call this the Zone of Avoidance, a band across the sky, roughly 20 degrees wide, where our own galaxy essentially blinds us to anything beyond it. And the Great Attractor sits almost perfectly centered in that band, as if the universe placed it directly behind the one thing that would make it hardest to find. The first astronomers to calculate its existence in the 1980s could measure its effects without seeing it. They knew it was there the same way you know there is a drain in a bathtub even if you cannot see it. By watching the direction, everything is flowing. The math pointed to a region. The mass was enormous, but they could not look directly at it. Then came radio telescopes, then X-ray observatories, then infrared surveys that could punch through the dust of the galactic plane in wavelengths that visible light could not survive. And slowly, the picture began to resolve. What astronomers found was not a single object, not a supermassive black hole, not some exotic structure without precedent. What they found, hidden behind the dust and gas, was a supercluster of galaxies, a vast gravitational region now known as the Norma Cluster. Thousands of galaxies, an enormous concentration of mass spread across tens of millions of light-years, generating a gravitational pull so immense it has been tugging on our galaxy and everything around it for billions of years. And then the story got stranger again, because when astronomers mapped the full picture, when they accounted for all of the mass they could find in that direction, the numbers still did not fully add up. The gravitational pull being measured was too strong. There was more out there than what they could see. The Great Attractor itself was being pulled. Something beyond it, something even further away, was part of the equation. In 2014, a team of astronomers led by Brent Tully published a paper that redrew the map of our cosmic neighborhood entirely. They had been using radio telescope data to track the peculiar velocities of thousands of galaxies across a huge volume of space. Not just looking at where galaxies were, but watching where they were going, mapping the flow of matter the way a meteorologist maps the flow of air, following the currents rather than just cataloging the positions. What the velocity map revealed was a structure so vast it had never previously been recognized as a single thing. A supercluster of galaxies, a gravitational basin containing the Milky Way, the Virgo Supercluster, the Great Attractor region, and hundreds of thousands of other galaxies, all bound together inside a single enormous gravitational watershed. They named it Laniakea, a Hawaiian word meaning immeasurable heaven. Laniakea stretches approximately 520 million light-years across. It contains the mass of 100 million billion suns. It holds roughly 100,000 galaxies inside its gravitational basin. And the Milky Way, our home, sits near the outer edge of it on the fringe, being pulled with everything else toward the dense heart of the structure where the Great Attractor sits. We did not just discover a mysterious object, we discovered the supercluster we live in. And we discovered it not by photographing it, but by watching the direction everything inside it was falling. But even Laniakea does not complete the picture. Beyond the Great Attractor in the direction of the constellation Vela, there is another structure, larger, even further away. A concentration of mass so immense that it appears to be exerting its own gravitational influence on our region of the universe, tugging not just on our galaxy, not just on the Great Attractor, but on Laniakea itself. Astronomers call it the Shapley Supercluster. It sits approximately 650 million light-years away. It is the most massive structure in the known nearby universe, a concentration of thousands of galaxy clusters packed into a region of space so dense. It generates a gravitational pull detectable across hundreds of millions of light-years. The Shapley Supercluster is pulling the Great Attractor. The Great Attractor is pulling us, and all of it, us. The Great Attractor, the Norma Cluster, Laniakea, is flowing toward Shapley like water, flowing down a long, slow, cosmic slope. Except it is not quite that simple either, because the expansion of the universe is also happening. The Hubble flow is still carrying everything outward. The question of whether our galaxy and the structures around it will ever actually reach the Shapley Supercluster, or whether the expansion of the universe will eventually overcome the gravitational pull and carry us apart faster than gravity can draw us together. That question does not yet have a definitive answer. The Milky Way is moving at approximately 600 kilometers per second toward the Great Attractor region. This motion has been measured by multiple independent methods across multiple decades. It is not in dispute. The Great Attractor is a real concentration of mass, a supercluster of galaxies centered roughly on the Norma Cluster that generates enough gravitational pull to organize the motion of galaxies across hundreds of millions of light-years. That supercluster and everything flowing toward it, including us, is part of a larger structure called Laniakea, our home supercluster, only identified and named in 2014 after decades of velocity mapping made it visible. And beyond that, the Shapley Supercluster exerts its own enormous pull on the whole system. What we do not know is what is hiding in the Zone of Avoidance. The galactic plane that blocked our view for so long has been partially penetrated by radio and infrared surveys. But only partially. There may be mass concentrations in that band that we have not yet characterized. There may be parts of this gravitational story we have not yet found because our own galaxy is still in the way. There is something that sits with you when you fully absorb what the Great Attractor means. We live on a planet orbiting a star. That star orbits the center of a galaxy. That galaxy is being pulled, along with hundreds of thousands of others, toward a structure so massive it organizes the motion of matter across 500 million light-years. And that structure is itself being pulled towards something even larger, even further away. in a gravitational chain we are still tracing. The universe is not a collection of objects sitting still in empty space. It is a system of flows, of currents, of gravitational basins and watersheds and rivers of matter moving through the dark across timescales so vast the human mind genuinely cannot hold them. We did not look through a telescope and see the Great Attractor. We inferred it from motion. We found it by noticing that everything around us was falling in the same direction and asking why. That question, why is everything falling that way, took 40 years to partially answer, and the partial answer revealed a structure so large we live inside it without knowing it. The Great Attractor is not something out there pulling at us from a distance. It is our destination. It has always been our destination, and the journey has been underway since before our sun existed. If this left you with a question that will not let go, leave it in the comments, because the researchers who mapped Laniakea still have the same ones. Subscribe, because next time we follow the flow somewhere even further out.